Do. All I need is the dragon sword. I'm back, guys. I need a recliner. I badly need to invest in a recliner. But then again, I look fat now compared to I usually am. But I wanted to talk with you guys about the differences between fan writing and fan fiction, or at least close to an explanation. Now you're asking, well, fan writing and fan fiction are basically the same thing, Steve. Like, what do you mean by there's a difference between fan writing versus fan fiction? I'll explain that right after I take a drink of water here. Okay. The differences between, trying to motivate myself up here, the differences between fan fiction and fan writing are very keynoted. They are very similar, yes, but they are vastly different. Fan fiction, and it's going to come across as like a stereotypical blurb. So anybody who actually does fan fiction or fan writing should just take this with a grain of salt. This is one man's opinion versus many others. My opinions do not reflect the Marvel Universe 2K14 or any of my fellow writers. This is simply my opinion. Fan fiction is, to me, is usually people that want to ship characters. Do like slash or hentai-esque stuff. They want to imagine themselves with the character, a power fantasy kind of deal, or be that character, or have the character's powers transferred over to them. Once again, power trip. Or overall, it's just they take the source material and they weave it to however they purpose, which is a key part of fan writing. It is a key integral part of fan writing, but they do theirs with not quite the dramatic flair that fan writers do. Fan writers take their time. Fanfic people, they put it out just because, unless they really horn their craft. Basically, what I'm saying is that fanfic writers are basically part of the fan base that they pretty much follow all the negative archetypes of writing that you don't want to follow. Like, they do it because they want to do it the same way that I do for 2K, and Meridian Park and the upcoming New Earth 2.0 and whatnot. But what's bad about it is they're living out a power fantasy that is very, shall we say, I don't want to say disturbing, because it's not disturbing. Everybody's entitled to put whatever characters together they want, or any such thing like that. But fan fiction to me is people that they're beginners writers, basically. They're beginning to find their way writing wise, and they just throw a whole bunch of stuff together. It could be a lackluster story. It could be, well, this character's going to have intimate or unconscientious, whoopee, to keep it PG with another character. Sometimes it could be male on male. Sometimes it could be just two characters that have no reason to really be together, etc., etc. The difference with fan writing is that you try to season yourself. In the case of fan writing, you know the characters, you know the universe, you know their personalities, you know who could work with who. relationship-wise, team-wise. Certain characters, if you're able to, say like you want to make a villain a hero again, you got to really do the road to redemption. My King Namor run is exactly what I'm doing right now. You know, what I'm doing with King Namor is exactly that. I'm taking Namor, who is a chaotic neutral-esque character, a character who has been neither good nor evil. He's just, he floats in that gray area, and I want to make him accountable for his actions, and I want to show that he's taking accountability onto himself. And with fan writing as well, it's very close to professional writing, which is you're coming up with a good, solid story. You're coming up with, well, these characters can mesh with these characters. Some characters, you can write them to be upgraded, quote unquote. In my case, I'm taking Darkhawk and a lot of the Mystic characters, especially with Mystic Defenders, and I'm putting them together, giving these characters an upgrade, giving them a much bigger role in the Marvel Universe, or the Marvel Universe that I write for. And with fan writing, you really have to know, more so than fanfic. Fanfic, you can just throw everything together in one pot, and good or bad, you can just dump it. With fan writing, you have to be a little more strategic. You have to go, well, okay, I've got this storyline, I can't pull a Deus Ex Machina now. It's like I have to follow the paper trail that I've already set and go to my next step. Case in point, with Iron Fist Noir, a lot of people would consider it fan fiction. It's not, because I didn't throw characters together just because. I thought it out. When I first did Iron Fist Noir, came up with the concept. My concept was, okay, I had a concept for all the characters that I chose because I had a long list. And I picked a card for each because I wanted to do a noir character. And Iron Fist was one of the first, ironically, that I came up. Ironically, I ended up choosing Iron Fist. And it's almost, you could say, a fated dill. Because Iron Fist was the very first character, noir-wise, that I thought of. Because they were all going to be new characters introduced in the noir universe. You know, the Marvel Noir universe. And Iron Fist was the first one I came up with because, okay, you can allow mysticism and gritty detective stories and whatnot. And it actually works for Iron Fist because the Iron Fist itself is a mystical force. It is a mystical energy in the 616. All I'm doing in the noir universe is I'm adding more of a supernatural edge to the, the powers of the Iron Fist, as well as the abilities of the various other immortal weapons. So I'm taking a more mystic edge, and the same thing with Spider-Man Noir. Spider-Man Noir, you pretty much, rather than it being an accident of science, Peter Parker is bitten by spiders of an ancient goddess. So really, you take these core concepts and you try to run with them, and you try to correlate, okay, how am I going to do this character? In the, for example, I had an idea, for whoever is taking over Spider-Man Noir. He's planning out his first arc, and I'm helping him along with that. One of the ideas, because Mysterio in the 616 is, he's an illusionist. Quentin Beck was an illusionist, a special effects artist. Well, in the Noir universe, I came up with the idea, and a very dark idea, but a very cool one, is what if he was a magician who one day just snapped? And what if, in snapping, he got this crazy idea to build a cult around himself and became a cult leader, and basically used his his skills as a magician to make himself appear to be a god. You know, those kinds of concepts sound like those are the kinds of concepts that you get with fan writing. You know, you're thinking your process out. You're not just throwing stuff together like fan fiction. Fan fiction, to me, I've always said fan fiction is just you throw everything together if you want to quickly put something out there, or you just want to go silly and goofy, like way out there in the boonies. Whereas with fan writing, you can still go out there, but you have to have a set structure. Fan writing, to me, is all about structure. You are structuring your writing. Fan fiction, you're winging it. So let's look at the parallels. Fan fiction, winging it. Fan writing, structure. But the key, and even though I deliberate between the two, it's like I said, there's many different circles with fan writing and fan fiction that they interlock. They are the same thing. They are very similar to each other, but they are so vastly different that they're really two different things. Now, some of you, I'm sure, who write fan fiction will disagree with me. I'm sure a lot of you will want to burn me at the cross for basically making it sound like you're creepos, and that's not. People who write fan fiction, I can appreciate the fact that they have a passion for wanting to write. I can appreciate the fact that they want to put their mark on a certain universe or a certain character. But I would follow more techniques of fan writing, which is I would study stuff. For me, a lot of the reason that I take so many periodic breaks and I pushed a lot of my titles back is because I'm doing infinite amount of research to try to hone my craft and try to do all the stories that I want. And a lot of titles I'm letting go of is simply because, you know, I feel I've left a halfway decent mark on them. But suffice to say, guys, there is a part of me that does want to get paid for my fan writing. I'm not going to lie about that. But there's also a big part of me, guys, that is okay with taking the amount of breaks, because the leisure between professional writing... I got to stand up for a moment. I'm getting a cramp. Sorry, guys. I'm getting a bit of a cramp in my leg. But the differences between... Ooh, man, that really stings. Gotta hate when you get a leg cramp. But the differences between professional writing and fan writing is vastly different as well. With professional writing, and it's obvious, of course, you have a deadline or a timetable, you get paid for it, and the more you go without writing, you don't get paid. And in the case of the field that I'm fan writing for, which is comic books, you got deadlines, you got editorial stuff, you got to work with your artist. So in this case, my fan writing is more just verbal, and like I'm painting the image with words. So really, fan writing has its benefits in the fact that there usually is not deadlines. There's usually no mandates. You pretty much get to do whatever you want. Within reason. Within reason. Sorry. You get to do whatever you want within reason, guys, but you also have to keep certain standards open. In my case, I keep an open communication. I let all my fellow writers, all my peers and whatnot know, okay, this is what's going on, this is what I'm having to deal with, etc., etc. Okay, there we go. Now, legs starting to not hurt as much. But that's just a general ho-hum basis for the differences between fan fiction and fan writing. You know, it's all about structure. It's all about, it's all about really. To me, you start out fan fiction, then you start into fan writing. Then you go from fan writing to possibly. Oh, excuse me, man, I need to quit yawning. You possibly go from fan writing to professional writing if you really can follow the paper trail passionately, which for me, that's what I'm trying to do. But just thought that would make a lengthy but not too awfully lengthy video. So with that, guys, I shall take my leave. Take what I say here with a grain of salt. And I will see you guys, I guess, the next time I do a vlog and whatnot.